17 days, 4 amazing places: Manchester, Amsterdam, Paris, Vienna. Here's how much Kyle and I spent on 17 days of traveling through Europe. Hey guys, it's Justine with Debt Free Millennials, the channel to help you crush your debt and live a debt-free life. Part of my debt-free life, as always, actually during my debt life, I think this trip was long awaited for me because it has been on my bucket list to go to France specifically for the longest time. And Kyle has the opportunity to travel with his job. So I'm going to share with you exactly how much we spent out of pocket, not including what his work covered. And I'll show you exactly how much we spent for a trip that we took to give you an idea of, if you want to take a similar trip to us, how much you would have to save for that. And then I'll show you what we actually paid once Kyle's work paid for his portion of his trip and a few other things. So let's first start with Manchester. Manchester was where his conference was at. Manchester is amazing though. You can walk through the city. It's very walkable. I felt very safe going out on my own without Kyle, and I could tour different parts of the city, and lots of points of interest were free. So his best friend also attended the conference and his wife came out. So her and I spent the day just going through a free, really historical library. We walked through coffee shops and tons of pubs. Oh my gosh, the pubs in Manchester are amazing. They're quaint, they're cozy, they're adorable, and you have to get a cask ale when you go to Manchester. Cask ales basically don't have any nitrate. Kyle, tell me if I'm saying this correctly, but there's no nitrogen in the beer, so they actually have a hand pump where they pump the nitrogen into that beer, so it's not as carbonated, and the beer is served at a warmer temperature than regular draft beers, but they're so good. You guys definitely have to get that. That was probably one of the highlights of Manchester, was having the cask ales, and their food is actually really good. English food doesn't get a good rap like it should. Like, they have really amazing steak and ale pies. These meat pies are so good. Fish and chips, like all of these really comforting foods that you just know and love. Highly recommend you guys check out Manchester. I found the people to be extremely friendly and helpful. Okay, after Manchester, we went to Amsterdam. Now, Amsterdam definitely opened up my eyes, and I was very aware that I was not in America. There are so many different cultures and ethnicities and languages. There were bicycles, just people on bikes running around like crazy. We went to the Van Gogh Museum, the Rijksmuseum. We also met up with our friend Nick, who lives just outside of Amsterdam, so it was really great to see him. We walked through the red light district. That's when I definitely knew I was not in the States. And I found the most charming bakery that I've ever sat down. It was so awesome because Kyle was at his work meeting, and I just sat in this bakery, and I ordered a coffee, and I ordered one of their homemade quiches, and I just sat there just people watching. We met up with my sister's friend who lives in Amsterdam, and she took us to a restaurant where we had traditional Dutch food. So we had houtspot. It's basically mashed potatoes and stewed meat and gravy, and it's just delicious. And we had stroopwafels, which are a really fun, like, cookie waffle thing. Then we ended up taking the train. So for $190, we ended up taking the train down to Paris. And that train ride was incredible. You get to go through the countryside, through the Netherlands, and then all through Belgium, and then finally stop into Paris. It was so beautiful. I much prefer taking the train over flying because the experience was so much more enjoyable, quiet, there was room, and there's no security. Once we got to Paris, Oh mon Dieu, c'était fantastique. Je suis tombée amoureuse de la France. I took French from high school all throughout college. I even minored in French in college, but I never went to France. So I was really dreaming about this day. And when I got there, I was really nervous because everybody I had talked to before said that, oh, Parisians are so rude, and if you don't speak the language, then they're just gonna walk all over you. But honestly, it was so magical. We splurged on a hotel because Kyle got his hotels paid for in Amsterdam and Manchester, that we decided to splurge on a hotel across the street from the Louvre. And once we got to that hotel, it was just so charming. I got to speak in French with the concierge and we got checked in. We even had this little guy. We even had this boy. He must have been like 12 years old, 13 years old, take up our bags for us. And we ended up getting these takeaway sandwiches from Pret a Manger, and we ate the sandwiches in the park outside of the Louvre, and it was just, I was smiling ear to ear that entire time. Now, we only spent 3 days in Paris as we were making our way through Europe, and we got to see L'Arc de Triomphe, we got to see the Eiffel Tower, of course, and we just walked all throughout the city. We had some amazing French food. We even met up with my husband's friend Charlotte, who is from France and lives in Paris, and her husband took us out to dinner. It helps so much to know people in international cities where we can just really, it's important to me that I understand the culture as a local would. Paris definitely captured my heart in ways that no other place can, and I definitely want to go back. I want to explore more of France. After the 3 days in Paris, we ended up going to Vienna, Austria, our last stop on our Euro trip. Way different than Western Europe. I was very aware that we were encroaching into Eastern Europe because it was very imperialistic. Lots of grays and whites and blacks. It's just very, it's not colorful, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because everywhere we went, everybody was very friendly and everybody speaks English, though it is encouraged to try a little bit of German. And we ended up staying with two of our friends who have this adorable apartment, and so they were able to take us around, and we basically did a walking tour the 3-4 days that we were there. We got to see some really amazing palaces. We got to try Viennese coffee and apple strudel, and we even had hot red mulled wine because the Christmas markets were just starting to pop up while we were there. Now, of all of the places that I had to rank, obviously Paris is going to be my number one, followed by Amsterdam because they were so unique and so different. Now let's get to the total cost of the trip. So flights and transportation, including Ubers, trains, trams, planes, was a total of $4,396.10. That's crazy. That definitely took up the bulk of the cost for the trip. Accommodations, we stayed at the Radisson Blu in Manchester. We also stayed at the Radisson Blu in Amsterdam, Hotel Brighton in Paris, and then we stayed with our friends for free in Vienna. The total cost for accommodations was $3,239.40. Then food and drink. I lumped this category together because we did go for drinks some nights and then other nights we went out for dinner. That total was $1,131.78, or roughly $67 per day on food and drinks, which is pretty good, I think. For 17 days, $67 a day, not bad. Then I also lumped a fourth category, which is fun. Fun includes tickets to events, shows, souvenirs, that sort of thing. We only spent $300.07 on fun, mainly because Europe is so walkable and a lot of the attractions you can see outside. Now, we did pay for tickets to go to the Rijksmuseum, the Van Gogh Museum, L'Arc de Triomphe, which we actually went up and toured on the rooftop, which was really amazing. And then the rest really were souvenirs. Had we paid this entirely out of pocket, The total cost was $9,067.35. But we piggybacked on Kyle's work. We also piggybacked on credit card points. So let's talk about that. We used credit card points for several of the flights. So let's subtract out the credit card points, which we used $891.24 worth in credit card points for flights internally inside of Europe. So that was me going from Manchester to Amsterdam. That was us going from Paris to Vienna, Vienna back to London. Now our out-of-pocket total drops to $8,176.11. So now let's factor in what Kyle's company paid for. They covered $3,983.04 of the trip. That included our stay at the Radisson Blu in Manchester, the Radisson Blu in Amsterdam, and his flight from San Diego to Manchester, then Manchester to Amsterdam. So that takes our out-of-pocket total to just $4,193.07. And finally, let's factor in his per diem. Per diem is the rate in which a company pays for meals and expenses each day. So Kyle was paid out $1,562.75 in per diem to cover meals and expenses. That brings our out-of-pocket grand total to $2,630.32. For basically $2,600, we got to do all of that because we piggybacked on work. Now, if you're thinking, oh, that's good for you, like I don't have that. Me and my spouse, we don't travel internationally for work. That's okay. Now you have a benchmark. To do the things that we did was $9,000. Now you could absolutely make this a lot cheaper by not staying in as nice of hotels. You could opt for an Airbnb. You can opt for a hostel if you want that college experience. We also flew from San Diego to London. If you live in the Midwest or the East Coast, chances are your tickets are going to be a lot cheaper than ours. Also, we flew American Airlines. There are budget airlines that offer significantly reduced tickets so long as you only bring one bag, so long as you're okay with smaller seats. So traveling like this definitely would have been harder had I not had my travel accessories. I've traveled a lot now to know that I need a really good neck pillow. I need a nice backpack. There are certain things that you just have to make your flights really comfortable. So I've curated a list of things that I bought off of Amazon that are budget friendly and make things so much more relaxing when you're on the plane or train or whatever. I will drop a list of Amazon affiliate links below for you to check out if you are planning a European trip. Is this surprising that we paid, well, is it surprising that it was that much? I mean, $9,000 is a lot of money, and I'm so thankful that Kyle has a company that he works for that helps cover expenses like this, and that I can piggyback and make this a vacation for $2,600. That's amazing. Let me know in the comments below when you are planning on going to Europe. Which country would you go to first?